Hey, welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do top 5 video compilations regularly, usually top 5 cars in a specific category.
Yeah.
We thought we'd switch it up and come up with top 5 trends that we're not loving in the auto industry.
Nope, not right now. So let's start with number 5. This is a bigger one for Zach than it is for me, black wheels.
It's a trend that has gone out of control, in my opinion. I'm not opposed to black wheels on certain cars. I should say that right away. Now, Andrea, do you remember last year we drove the Mercedes-Benz GLS?
Yeah.
The big full-size luxury SUV, and had the black monoblock wheels.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of looked pretty cool on that.
I agree.
Yeah, because that's an iconic wheel design for Mercedes-Benz.
And I also like the BMW M240i that we drove. Purple exterior color with black wheels. I thought that looked pretty hot.
But I see a trend where brands are having certain packages that they offer only available with black wheels. Hey, if you like black wheels, run away and go get that. But I want the option to maybe get the dark trim on the front of the car, around the windows, and still get a bright wheel. But a lot of brands don't offer that.
Yeah, well, we recently drove the Volkswagen GLI, and that was the case. There's one trim and only black wheels, no other options. So you'd have to, I guess, put your own wheels on it if you despise the black wheels. I thought it looked okay with the blue exterior and the black wheels. When Zach and I were on a walk last night, we saw some beautiful satin wheels. So I think that's a good compromise between the two.
And the reason why I don't like black wheels is I find that, like, the GLI is a perfect example, and we're not picking on Volkswagen, it's just the car we drove like a week ago.
Yeah.
So we remember it, is that the wheels just get lost in the car. There's no definition for the size of the wheel. The wheel and the tire, it's all black. I like them, if you're going to do a black wheel, at least have one with like a chrome collar or a little bit of polished to go along with it, or give me the option for a bright wheel, which I prefer. But it's just a trend, and hopefully it's a trend that's going to pass, because, or at least give people options.
Give the option.
You know what offends me, Andrea?
What?
Black wheels that are all curbed. They're curbed all the way around. So that's how you get the bright collar on the outside. You just grind it up against the curb. That's how you get the black and the silver together. You know the worst offenders for this?
I was just going to say, I know what you're going to say.
Tesla.
Yeah. Tesla, those black wheels,
I
gotta
first of all,
say,
they're
are
ugly.
so ugly.
They're so ugly.
So ugly. So if you're getting black wheels, make sure you know how to parallel park.
Let's get to number 4.
So I guess you're going to hear us complain a lot in this video.
Well, that's the whole video, Andrea.
Yeah.
Things we don't like. By the way, you write down what you think are your 5 least favorite trends in the auto industry, because everyone's going to have an opinion. This is just ours. And we had to compromise too.
We did. So another worst offender for us is door handles. Most EVs are coming out with some quirky door handles. They're all integrated, and it drives us crazy.
Well, they're not all integrated. Like, there are some EV brands that still do a classic door handle.
Yes.
So Audi still does a regular door handle.
BMW, the
BMW,
iX.
yeah, they seem to have, well, it's
i4.
not, but all these ones that sort of flip out like little paddle shifters, or in the case of the Mach-E that just has a little nub. It's the answer to the question nobody was asking. We've had door handles work for 100 years, and now they want to change it.
It seems it comes down to just being different and unique with electric vehicles at this point. Of course, aerodynamics is a big part of it, but BMW seemed to sort it out with the i4, that they have regular door handles on it, and I applaud them for it.
I will pay the efficiency penalty to have a regular door handle, because we live in Canada in a northern climate, and you get times where there's ice all over your car, the doors are kind of frozen shut, and you gotta be able to yank on something. And those little paddle shifty things, there's loads of videos of people that show you how to open your Tesla when it's frozen. But why? Just make it simple and regular.
So let's get back to the basics and give us regular door handles. This video is brought to you by Canada Drives. Shop online for your next used vehicle and enjoy the convenience of to-your-door delivery and the confidence of a 7-day love it or return it guarantee. Visit canadadrives.ca to learn more.
So I think you're going to notice a trend with our top 5 list. It's stuff that has been working for decades that car companies now want to change.
Yep.
Door handles is one. The next one is what, Andrea?
Gear shifters. We like a traditional shifter, but we're seeing many brands move to dial shifters and button shifters. And then, of course, Mercedes-Benz has always done the column shifter.
So this is another trend we're seeing because they've gone from a traditional linkage. So the gear selector actually has a mechanical connection to the transmission, often that's just below it or just in front of it. Now, because the transmissions are electronically controlled, they can go to a button or a dial. That's all great, Andrea, but the reality is that it takes up the same amount of space in the middle here that a regular shifter would.
If you can give me some extra storage, maybe I'll be okay with it. If I can get something from it, Mercedes does. But we see a lot of them that you don't get any extra storage, and the electric vehicles are getting some quirky shifters, especially the ID4.
And the other thing with the shifters is a lot of them aren't intuitive. Like, you know, we all have had, we know it's reverse, neutral drive, and low or sport or whatever it is for a traditional shifter. Some of these aren't that intuitive. So the one that I didn't like, Andrea, was the GV80 and the GV70 have the same shifter as the controller for the infotainment system. So you've got two round dials there, and sometimes you're operating one and you think you're operating the other. Familiarity helps, but it's really the answer to the question nobody was asking again.
I'm not crazy about the Chevrolet Tahoe shifter where you've got a button shifter, but you also pull up on it. And the same was with the Buick Envision. So for me, I just prefer a traditional shifter. They're super easy to use.
Some companies integrate the digital part of it with a traditional shifter feel. So you get like the Nissan Rogue has a traditional kind of feel, but it is digitally activated. Same with Mitsubishi and the Outlander. So there's a couple of good examples.
Our number 2 pick is lack of physical buttons.
Everything's going into a screen, friends, and they're getting rid of physical buttons. It's interesting. We were on a Mercedes-Benz program and we talked about their EQS, their full electric large sedan that has this very funky looking dashboard. And one of the product planners said when he goes to Germany and speaks to them about what they're going to do with electrification, there were certain buttons that they won't remove, like operating your mirrors and things like that. So that's good news, but a lot of other brands are pushing all of those things into a screen.
Everything. Heated front seats, heated steering wheel. Of course, there's voice commands. And some of them put a tab at the bottom of the screen for climate control, which I think is great. And Kia just came out with a panel where you can switch between climate controls and infotainment. I mean, that is probably the best of both worlds if you're going to start eliminating buttons. But we see in the Ioniq 5, they've eliminated buttons. Volkswagen is moving towards this as well.
Well, they got crucified with the new GTI and the Golf R. There's all this sort of haptic feedback kind of in the head units of their radio, where we at the same time drove the updated Tiguan that still has all the physical buttons, and it's a much better experience with the Tiguan. Now, one of the reasons why people always say, what does it matter if it's in a screen? Okay, a screen is fine if you're sitting still like we are right now. You can go into this, first of all, you're not concentrating on driving. You can go into the screen and you can do what you want. When you're driving along and you're going over a bumpy road and you've got to try and navigate your way through it, it's not very precise. And for me, when I sit on that side of the car, I'm using my left hand, and I'm right-handed. It's great for Andrea because she's left-handed, to operate it, versus just going heated seat on and away you go. That's really what it comes down to. Basically, Andrea, we drive over 100 cars a year. Do you think it's better to have real buttons or in the screen?
Yes. And you know who is continuing with real buttons is Toyota and Lexus. They haven't eliminated that. There is a model, actually 2 models that I'm going to give an exception to, and that's the Tesla Model Y as well as the Mustang Mach-E. And the reason why...
I disagree with this.
Hold on. The reason why is that the screens are closer to the driver. They're turned towards the driver, so it's more of a driver-focused cockpit. And those 2 screens I actually found easier to use. Some of the other vehicles that we're in, the screens sit further back and you have to reach further. So I'm not saying that that's the direction I want to go with the Mustang Mach-E and the Model Y, but I will give those an exception because I did find them really easy to use.
Before we move on to number 1, well, I wonder what it is. Any guesses? I mentioned this in a review we did recently. There was an interview with one of the head designers from BMW. And he pointed out that he thinks we're at peak screen. I hope he's right, because I don't mind a screen. I don't mind some functions in the screen. I just want all the stuff I use regularly, like heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, defroster, all the stuff that you use on a regular basis, quick, easy access.
Well, I'm surprised that BMW said that, because they've just come out with the iX and the i4, and they've integrated everything into the screens. And I think that that is more the direction that they're going to. And when we see redesigns of their vehicles, my bet is that is how they're going to look.
We'll forward them this video.
Yes. So any guesses what our #1 pick? I'll tell you, Zach has a different name for it
They'll
than
come up with a new name.
what manufacturers call it. And do you know what it is?
It's called shiny hard plastic.
Piano black.
Great marketing. Car companies are great at coming up with names for stuff, but let's just call it what it is. It's shiny hard plastic, and it is basically taking over the interior of cars.
Is it ever? We see it in the new Porsche Macan refresh. We're seeing it in the Cayenne. The Acura MDX is full of piano black. We saw a little bit of it in the Kia Sportage as well.
Another one, as an example, is the new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee L. And the thing about shiny hard plastic piano black is that it looks great in the showroom. It takes a great photo and is wonderful looking. It's 30 minutes later. It's got dust all over it, fingerprints all over it, and it's really just taken off. And it's not just the shiny hard plastic, it's all the other plastics on the inside. It's kind of getting, well, all cars are filled with plastic. It's the quality of plastic.
Yeah, and I think some look better from a distance, but once you get in there and you start touching the hard plastic that is in the vehicle throughout, it's a little bit annoying when you look at the price point and that's what you're paying for.
Okay, so a couple of them combined here. So here's some images of the Grand Cherokee with the dial shifter, a favorite of ours, along with the piano black. And you can just see it's just covering everything. Another one is the Buick Envision. It has the push button controllers plus all of that shiny hard plastic. So it's just a trend that has got to come to an end.
Yeah, but we were just in the GLI, from Volkswagen, and if you touch the surfaces of things, it's hard plastic. But from a distance, they've actually done a pretty good job of putting a design throughout their trim so you can kind of avoid that high gloss look.
So that's what they do. They make it look good. You buy it, you live with it, and it's like all you're doing is cleaning fingerprints and dust.
I liked also the new Pathfinder. They had different ones, like kind of like a bronze, and then they did a matte, a silver. They did a variety of different ones depending on what trim you went with, and I thought that looked really good.
It's just become lazy on the part of the car companies. They have other materials they can use, and they've just decided to go with this stuff because I think it takes a good photograph.
Oh, and what did we see in the Toyota BZ4X? A lot of fabric.
Yes.
I thought that was nice.
That's a trend I actually like, where they cover the dash and the lower parts of the doors with fabric. It's inexpensive and it looks great.
And Kia Stinger with all that Alcantara.
The suede. Oof. They had a full suede dashboard.
Hot.
Now that looks good. All right, so there's our top 5 trends that we don't love in the auto industry. It's just kind of getting back to basic common sense, I think would go a long, long way. So these are the ones we came up with. There's no right or wrong list, but we would love to hear your thoughts, and maybe your #1 pet peeve would be a good one.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of it is going to be piano black. I think a lot of us agree on that. And then no knobs and buttons anymore.
Shiny hard plastic. That's what I'm calling it. All right, we're all done. If you want to follow Andrea on Instagram, you got a quick sneak peek what's going on behind the scenes. It's Motormouth_Andrea. And what else do they need to do, Andrea?
Subscribe, hit that notification bell. We put out a lot of different content each week, and we'd love you to watch it all.
And coming up soon is going to be our top 5 trends we do like.
Yeah.
This video is brought to you by Canada Drives. Shop online for your next used vehicle and enjoy the convenience of to-your-door delivery and the confidence of a 7-day love it or return it guarantee. Visit canadadrives.ca to learn more.